I've actually created an exercise below underneath this video that you will be able to evaluate your own some of the websites on your own. I'm going to get a collection and just see if you can what you think about whether or not they would classify as a good web design or a bad web design. So you're going to want to take a look at that below here. And then finally, this whole conversation is meant to have you really go back and think about your blog and whether or not your blog is adhering to principles of good web design. It could mean that you need to, after having these conversations and looking at a couple of web pages, it could mean that you need to go back and change the template that you're using with your blog, or maybe you need to change the positioning of a picture, or the sizing of a picture, or the color of your links, or the amount of scrolling you have to do. Point being is this is supposed to make you thoughtful and to help you be more thoughtful about your process. We're going to shift now to a conversation about pedagogy. Pedagogy being the art, the how, the process of teaching. And as we prepare to do that, I want you to think for a moment about what kind of teacher you are and how you would describe your own pedagogy, your own approach to pedagogy. How is it that you teach? Who are you as a teacher in the classroom? I'm not going to have a place for you to type this in or type this up and post and share. This is more of a inner reflection for your own self to get grounded in your own teaching. If you need to, pause the video right now to spend some time thinking about these two questions. As with web design and calling it good web design, good pedagogy, using the word good to describe pedagogy is always a little iffy, and it can be subjective as well. I've tried to piece together a grouping of pedagogical strengths, I think, but points that are not often made when it comes to talking about teaching with technology, in particular, with this case, teaching with blogs. And I'm going to read these 5 because I believe they're that important. And the first is that the teaching, pedagogy, is student and content driven rather than technology driven. And this is huge. This is enormous. And if anything, from the end of this unit, much less this entire open course, you should not go pick blogs and wikis and go cram them down the throats of your students. The lesson that you're trying to teach, a problem that your kids are trying to solve, that is the impetus for using a technology like a blog or a wiki. Not, I have this really new cool technology, let's find a way to use it. Rather, let's have the technology work for us. Which brings to the second point, incorporate the best parts of the technology. You don't have to use every piece of a technology just because it's there. Spend your time doing your research and learning what it can and cannot do, and maximize what it can do. The third, use the technology to empower students and teachers. Good pedagogy is always about empowerment of students and teachers, not about technology. Technology will not save the day. Good pedagogy, good teaching, and teaching with relationships is what saves the day. This very much ties into the first, that technology cannot drive good pedagogy. Empowered students and teachers do. Good pedagogy with technology leaves teachers and students feeling expanded and like the world is possible, the world is full of possibility. It does not leave them feeling reduced or frustrated or signing off and unpositive, negative. It should not be. The kids should not feel reduced, neither should teachers in the entire process. If it is, drop the technology. it's not worth it. And my final point is that good pedagogy is full of truth, a search for truth, full of mind, and also full of heart. And this is the component that many people leave out when it comes to using technology. Yes, it can become very procedural, because that's how computers work. They're very technical, they're very procedural. But we have to remember that we are teaching humans, human children, human beings that respond to truth and intelligence and wisdom, and also relationships and the relationships we have with them. Technology is not going to solve it. It is not going to solve a particular pedagogical problem. It may make a procedure easier. But good pedagogy with technology acknowledges the strengths of the technology, but also holds true to principles of the relationship, the importance of the relationship between teacher, student, and the content and the classroom environment. As you're coming through now, having talked about good web design as well, talking about good pedagogy and who you are as a teacher, I want to revisit the what your blog should include. Multiple posts, links, images, embedded content. And I want you to go back now, if you haven't already, and spend some time looking at your web page, your blog, to see whether or not it exemplifies good web design as well as thoughtful pedagogy. Thoughtful pedagogy. If you have questions about either of those last two bullets, good web design or thoughtful pedagogy, you may contact me, or you may contact anybody else, any of the other participants who've expressed an interest in helping with this course. I am going to ask you to share the URL to your blog below if you have not done so already, and also to provide feedback on others' blogs if they've left contact information or have left commenting open on their blogs if you want to go and follow along with what they're doing. As a quick wrap-up, we've talked about blogs primarily in this unit and focusing mainly on creating them, also on learning and how to use the technical aspects and the ins and outs of blogs and the different platforms, as well as how to find additional support. And we talked briefly about good web design principles and what does it mean to have good pedagogy with technology and teaching with technology. We are now at the end of the Unit 2 on blogs. You have already completed the introduction and Internet versus Web 2.0, the first unit. You will have one more core unit, Unit 3 on Wikis, and a final closing and wrapping up unit after that.